Cable Video and Telecommunications Commission for Thursday, February the 22nd, 2024. I am Trippi Congo, President of Wilmington City Council and Chair of the Cable Video and Telecommunications Commission. Before we get started, I'd like to first do a roll call for all of our CBT committee members. Commissioner Bracy.
Present.
Commissioner Fields. Commissioner Cabrera. Commissioner Rago.
Here.
Commissioner Williams. Terrence Williams.
Present.
Commissioner Goff.
Here.
And Commissioners Parikh and Kelly Williams have been excused, but Commissioner Parikh might be joining us in a few moments. I'd like to acknowledge others that are in attendance this afternoon. Marshall Bassanite, our Senior Legislative Advisor and CFO for Wilmington City Council. Wendell Raulston, Station Manager. John Stant, Assistant City Solicitor. Ivan Thomas with DETV. Alva Mobley, Chief Communications Officer for the Red Clay, EDtv. And Anita Hawks, our Legislative Administrative Assistant. If you can, please review the draft minutes from the November 15th, 2023 CBT Commission meeting. I'll accept the motion to adopt the November 15th, 2023 CBT minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been moved and second to adopt the November 15th, 2023 minutes, and they have been adopted. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? They've been adopted. Thank you. Moving on to Councilmember Fields. I'd like to acknowledge Commissioner Brigida Fields, who has joined us. Moving on to new business. Wendell.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. May I just ask a question as far as procedure?
Yes.
I am going to bring up a subject today, which is the sublease agreement with the TPO. I think there's something very wrong with this sublease agreement. And so my first request is to respectfully, because I do know there are some members who have a time limit today and may not make it all the way through the commission meeting.
Okay.
Is there any way we could move that subject up for a discussion, and as opposed to letting it get bogged down after all of the, the initial reports?
Yes, I'm fine with that. Do any commissioners have any opposition to us reworking the schedule?
I appreciate that.
All right, no problem. So first we are going to go to Mr. Ivan Thomas.
Yeah. And Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Excuse me, just one more clarification. What I'm about to bring up has nothing to do with Ivan Thomas or DETV, but is strictly about the TPO agreement. It could be, for instance, with TPO could be XYZ. I just want you to know that, but if Ivan wants to give it a report first and then we go into this, that's fine. I appreciate that.
Yes,
I just want you to know it has nothing to do with him.
Okay, yes, we will let Mr.
Okay.
Thomas present his report, and then we can go into our second topic with the EDtv, with the TPO.
Thank you.
Mr. Thomas.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
All right, how you feeling?
I'm well. I'm glad to be here. It's been 5 years, so happy to be here. The idea, we start with the report. The idea, and they had the slides, the presentation. Okay, just. All right, Go to the next slide for me, please. Thank you. So the idea of DETV is to establish a Delaware-based station similar to PBS, offering a wide range of content, including children's programs, local news, sports coverage, local sports coverage, and with our diverse morning show tailored to the people of Delaware. Next slide. Okay, while they give that, our next slide actually was showing our distribution. There we go. This is our distribution. So we could take one program, and that one program goes out several different ways. One on DETV, on channel 28, and that's local and statewide. The second one is on DETV's Facebook page, which has over, right now, close to 17,000 followers. It goes through the DETV Twitter, DETV YouTube, and then whoever the person is, the client or whatever, social media channels as well. So we could go up to 30 different social media channels. Next slide, please. This is our reach. Over 550,000 homes in the state of Delaware. We have a new company that we work with that helps pulling the data daily to let us see what's going on, real-time data. And that data would also be used in creating shows, showing where we are, grant applications, and definitely like getting shows together for the political climate that's happening here till November. You can see Wilmington is broken down from Wilmington, Newcastle County, Bear, Middletown, Hockessin. To the right of that is our Facebook followers, our Instagram followers, and our X followers. Our YouTube followers we have right now about 3,200 on YouTube that subscribe to DETV. Next slide. And these are the programs that we've been doing since we had the station. We have the station. The DETV News, our local news show, the Good Morning Wilmington, our morning show, DETV Sports, and the agenda. The sports show is now. We used to do national sports, but we're focusing right now on local. So that's going to be a big thing for us moving forward. The agenda is our political show. Hola Delaware is our show for our Latino brothers and sisters. Homeschool is a part of the DETV Kids umbrella. So is DETV Storytellers and Storybook Corner. It's all for the kids in kindergarten, middle school, up to high school. Since then we incorporated a new show and you go to the next slide, please. And this show right here is it's called Africa Connects. It's for our Haitian brothers and sisters that's downstate in the state of Delaware. And can you play one clip of that for me?
We've had a lot of them coming here, telling us, vote for us, we're going to do this for you. And then at the end of the day, they keep switching their tongues. So this time around, we're standing our ground, like I told my own people, speaking in our own understanding, our pidgin English. We are standing our ground that this time around, whoever is coming to us, with whichever policy maker, comes to us or approach us for votes and so on. We need people
Cool.
who are
We could go to the next slide.
who will stand with their work.
Thank you.
Because we've had a lot of them coming here. We want
All right. So what we did in October of this year was to create more verticals, and that's DETV Local, DETV Arts, DETV News, Culture, Wellness, Sports, and Health. Can you go to the next one for me? Next slide. What we did New Year's Eve night was the launch of DETV, actually the launch of everything, but specifically the launch of DETV Music. And what we did on New Year's Eve night was to have a in-studio concert, if you will. And in that concert, we had a fundraiser that will help, and we partnered with other local nonprofits. The idea with these verticals is to put some type of awareness on top of it. So gathering the people and then giving an awareness on top. So this right here, we had a fundraiser, and we split the funds with I Am My Sister's Keeper and Love and Hope Rescue Mission. Next slide, please. So on New Year's Eve night, what we did, I'm sorry, one more. I did one more. So what we did was our awareness was for mental health and behavioral health. It was hosted by myself and called in a couple favors, called in a couple people. The Allison Williams, Lieutenant Governor came and spoke on stage. Next slide, please. And you could just keep on sliding through. Just keep on sliding through, slide through. And Adam Blackstone, the man that's in charge of the music for the Super Bowl that we just watched for the last 4 years, and he made an appearance and performed at the studio. What we did was, again, we live streamed it, broadcast it, and used our distribution model to get it out to the people while fundraising live on TV. You can play that.
I need everybody up on their feet real quick. I'm gonna take y'all down to Essence Fest one time. Let me see if y'all can get with me like this.
So this is something
I know
that
my
we're
man
gonna do
D. gonna party with me.
consistently across
I need
the
everybody
board.
up on their feet real quick. I'm gonna take y'all down to Essence
All right,
Fest
you can go to the next slide for me. Thank
Let me
you.
see if y'all can. So before we get.
Also, what we did, and I think that'll come up. This is DETV Health. DETV Health, we partnered with doctors in the area that look like the community. And what we've done was they come on and they play a message. We partnered with Dr. Scantlebury, Dr. Rogers, Dr. Teal, and Dr. Coker. You can play one for me.
Your lifetime. And I really want to emphasize 2 key points. Number 1, most breast cancers do not occur in women with a family history. I really want to emphasize this because I've had many people over the years think that they don't need a mammogram because nobody in their family has ever had breast cancer. But I'm here to tell you that more than
Right.
70%
Can you go to the next one, the one in the middle for me?
cancer have no family history.
Hello, I'm Dr. Scanterbury from the Delaware Health Equity Coalition. The flu season is still on, and I encourage you, if you have not received your flu vaccine, please go to your nearest pharmacy or come visit us at the Delaware Health Equity Coalition. Another virus that you may qualify for to gain protection is the RSV.
You can go to
It's
the next one for
respiratory
me. Thank you.
syncytial virus, and for those over.
Hey everyone, this is Dr. Teal from Delaware Health Equity Coalition. Just a reminder that it's cold and it's COVID, flu, and RSV season. Don't forget to get vaccinated. Go to your local pharmacy, give us a call,
All right.
whatever you do.
You can go to the next slide.
Get
Thank you.
vaccinated,
That
protect
1
yourself.
out of 8
And wellness as well.
Not only in these communities do you not have access to healthy food, but you have an abundance of access to unhealthy food. You got liquor stores, you got corner stores, and you got Chinese restaurants full of processed, refined, highly sugared food that aren't good for you, right? So take these 2 problems, lack of access of the stuff that you need, and abundance of access to the things you don't need. That's a recipe for disaster.
Right. You could go to the next slide, please.
Holistic disaster. Not only
Thank you. We also, like what we just did for the Super Bowl, we had a gathering for Super Bowl to talk about prostate cancer. We had over 125 people show up. And again, the perfect platform, to watch the game, but also get some awareness of, things that are affecting our community. So those are the things that we're adding on. And we have a lot more that we're adding on for the summer, spring and summer. So that's where we are with programming.
All right, thank you, Ivan. Do any commissioners have any comments or questions for Mr. Thomas?
I'll just offer, if I may, Commissioner Rago here, if I may. I just think it's, Ivan, DETV is doing such a wonderful job. Each time you come to us, you seem to expand the type of information that you're sharing with the community. You also seem to be expanding the opportunity for people to appear on this leased access station that is authorized by the city of Wilmington in order to present different points of view, different information. So, congratulations to you and the entire team for continuing to be creative in your efforts. So really good to see what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yes, I definitely have to commend you and your team, Ivan, for everything that you're bringing to our state. You guys, like John said, every time you come, you just keep raising the bar. So definitely happy for you, man. Keep up the great work. You and your team.
Thank you.
I don't know, it seems like the sky's the limit. I don't see how you keep on coming up with new ways to entertain it and inform, but you keep doing it. So, job well done.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for the committee and for giving me the chance to do that.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Any other commissioners? Seeing no hands raised, Commissioner Rago, you said
Yes.
you wanted to, you can
Yeah.
move on with
Thank
your
you.
concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate this opportunity. I'll try not to drag this out. I would just like to be heard, and hopefully you all will understand. There is in addition to the city coming to an agreement and selecting, and this commission, by the way, selecting the TPO for, in this case, the lease access station, there's also a sublease agreement that is an agreement between the city and the TPO. And I just have to ask this question. If I, as a member of the committee or the commission, voted to approve this sublease agreement, I apologize. I apologize to everyone. I apologize to my fellow commission members, and I apologize to the TPO. Now, in this case, as I said, that's why I said earlier, this is not about Ivan. Ivan has a wonderful operation. He's doing good work. This is for either future, well, currently he's the TPO, so it would affect him, but it's also for future TPOs that may come along if the city of Wilmington continues to choose to operate a leased access station. And here's the problem. Somehow in this sublease agreement, the city of Wilmington has, and follow me along here, the city leases a site over on Lancaster Avenue where television production is carried out for leased access station. But somehow the landlord at this site over on Lancaster Avenue has no responsibility whatsoever for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, the walls, the floors, the ceiling. Somehow the city of Wilmington has put all of that responsibility on the TPO. So for instance, if you were over at Lancaster Avenue right now, and let's say you arrived to tape a program for leased access, and it's winter and it's cold, and the reason it's cold is because the heating system's not working properly. Well, that's not the responsibility of the landlord who owns the building on Lancaster Avenue. It's not the responsibility of the city of Wilmington, which leases the space, but it is the responsibility of the TPO. Somehow we have an agreement here that we're asking the current TPO to re-up or sign again, that gives all of these responsibilities to the TPO. So I don't understand how a TPO that we bring in to operate a leased access station, and remember, it was our choice. We don't have to operate a leased access station, but for a variety of reasons, the city of Wilmington has chose to do so. So if it chooses to do so, and it can't let, for instance, that TPO use the same space that WITN uses to produce its programming, and it has to find another space, in this case, Lancaster Avenue, I can't, for the life of me, figure out how we came to an agreement, or we actually asked the TPO to sign an agreement that gives the TPO full responsibility for air conditioning, heating, plumbing, the lights. And so I really believe, and I hope I can get the support of my fellow commission members, we need to renegotiate this agreement, or we need to take a good long look at this agreement, because if I go back in history, when the LAPA organization had the leased access programming, I don't know what the LAPA organization would have done if we said to them, sure, you can operate the leased access television station, but in order to do that, you have to replace the air conditioner at the rented location if it breaks. You have to replace the heating system if it breaks. You have to, I mean, just go on and on and on. It just doesn't make sense, because A lot of these organizations that are going to step forward to operate these TV stations, they're not flowing, the money's not flowing inside these organizations. They're, many of them, community-based. So I just say, I don't think the current TPO, and this is just my opinion, I don't think the current TPO should sign this agreement. They're asking, the council is asking the TPO to re-sign or re-up. I think we ought to step back, take a look at this, and figure out if there's another way to handle this. I'm just floored that, and I would like to ask a question of staff, and maybe Marshall, I know you know a lot of the history. Marshall, was the sublease agreement actually brought to this commission for approval?
Yeah, so actually it was, John.
Okay.
So actually, it was actually part of the actual ordinance for adopting the TPO back in 2019. So if we actually looked at the actual ordinance, the sublease agreement was actually attached with it.
Okay, well
So
then
this
I,
is not, so this is not unusual. And I know, I mean, with your comments, you mentioned that, you know, we have to detach DETV with the TPO, but I just wanted just to make sure, like, that everyone knows, like, that sublease agreement was drafted by our law department, and to address some of your concerns, I believe there was a privileged memo that was shared with you regarding
Yes.
their rationale, why they
Yes.
did the sublease that way. But also for the commissioners here, as of this moment, you know, there is a liability issue, meaning, you know, we don't have a sublease agreement signed. So we do know the TPO agreement expires actually in March. So, you know, we were just trying to get everything to be up to date and to be current, realizing that, you know, we will have to do new agreements, even a new agreement to extend out the TPO, if that's what this commission chooses to do, until we actually get a new franchise agreement.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, if I may, I want to thank Marshall for that, for the history. And again, I apologize. I apologize as a member of this commission for approving this agreement. And I guess what we were doing at the time, we were, it was, as Marshall said, it was an entire package. So, you know, you gotta read, and you gotta be aware of what it is we're approving. So I think, Mr. Chair, we have plenty of time here to sit down, talk to each other, figure out how to rework this agreement, because I don't think we should put this on any a TPO, you know, third-party operator. Just one more example. This city decided to operate an education channel, and that's fine. And we sought a TPO, and that ended up being the Red Clay School District. Can you imagine if we didn't, they operate out of McCain High School, but let's say they needed a rented space. Well, it's the responsibility of the city of Wilmington to come up with a rented space for a television station that it wants to operate. Can you imagine if we said to Red Clay, well, here, you can have this area over in Lancaster Avenue, but the landlord, he has no responsibility for any of this, any repairs. But all of the responsibility is on you, Red Clay School District. I don't, quite frankly, think the Red Clay School District would look at us like we were crazy if we put everything on them. So if I need to make a motion, I will make a motion, and I'll just go ahead and do it. I make a motion that we.
Yes, Commissioner, I would like just to have some comment from other commissioners before we make any motions, please. No problem. And I guess I'll go first. I don't blame DET for not signing that contract. I think that I'm not sure if the city should even go into an agreement where the city should even be responsible for another entity's heating and air conditioning and lighting. I don't think that made any sense. So I think we need to look past the TPO, past the EDtv, and wonder why we would even enter into a contract that would hold us responsible for somebody else's property. I think we need to look elsewhere, find another location. If that's, I've never heard of that before, of a tenant being responsible for heating and air conditioning and just the entire upkeep of a property. So I'm in full agreement, but I think we need to look at, I don't know the contract details, but I think we need to look at another location if that is going to be the requirements of this landlord, that we have to be responsible. I think we need to look elsewhere. Marshall?
Yeah, I just want to
And then Ivan.
okay, I just want to clarify. So this contract was drafted by our law department in conjunction with whatever Lancaster Associates. So it wasn't just like this here was like arbitrarily put there. So this here was based upon the law department, whoever the attorney was at that time back in 2019. And also when it comes to the tenant, you know, I just want to say everything is like really time sensitive, meaning our lease agreement expires March, which is next month. So if we are going to do something differently, like we really like need to know like soon, because there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts. Meaning if we try to move to a different site, there's a matter of moving the feed line, right? There's a cost for the feed line. There's, you know, a time frame for us to do that, meaning it takes about 6 months if we decide to move, and there's cost. So all of that has to be factored into our conversations as well. So I do believe, you know, there would have to be a conversation with the law department as well as with the attorneys who draft the agreement for Lancaster Associates.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I just
One
make a
second,
comment
Mr.
to
Rego.
Marshall?
1 second, I just want to let Mr. Thomas, he had his hand raised.
Just two things, you know, in 2019, we've been without heat and AC in that building for about 4 years. And one thing that whatever, and I know you said it's time sensitive, whatever we need to do, we developed a way that we can still have things on air while we figure the rest of that out. Just to let you know, if that was last resort, that if something was to happen, if you guys are redrafting anything, we still can make sure that the city, the residents of Delaware can still have the shows to watch and information out.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Commissioner Rego?
Yeah, I just want to comment on something Marshall said, again, for all the fellow commissioners here. What happened here is the city of Wilmington did strike an agreement with a landlord on Lancaster Avenue. So that was the first agreement the city struck. Now somehow this has developed because there's a sublease. So I'm not talking about the sublease. I'm talking about the regular lease. And Marshall, I never remember, and I've been around for a long time and I worked on council at one time when we were dealing with this. I don't ever remember saying to the owner of Lancaster Avenue, we'll rent the space, we'll give you money each month, but you don't have to do anything. You don't have to keep any of the building up. So somehow that got off track. And then to top it off, we came up with a sublease agreement that then put it all on the TPO. So you made reference to the privileged information we received from the law department, but the law department clearly said here, to the extent that the city and the city and DETV, it says, want to change the terms of the deal in the upcoming sublease, they can do, if they choose to do so, they can do so. So I know you keep referring to the law department. Well, the law department is doing what the law department was asked to do and give legal advice, and they did. But I appreciate the chair's comments because I see that he understands this, and I just think that we can do this. We can get this renegotiated, if you will, and do it by the deadline. And by the way, that deadline, Marshall, I don't think it's not a firm deadline. It's the deadline representing when the agreement expires. And of course, what you can do is you can continue under the current arrangement until you have all the details worked out. So we do have some time here to get this done.
I just have to, I'm sorry, John, I just have to correct for the record. There is a hard deadline because we did use all of our extensions. So we do have to have a new 1-year agreement, which is the work in the process.
Okay, I understand that because that's probably what was in the ordinance. And, yeah, okay, so but we still have time. And, Mr. Chair, if there are others who want to speak, I'll keep quiet. If not, you tell me when I can make a motion.
All right, just for clarity, so everyone's on the same page, that deadline is the 1st of March, or what date in March?
It's the 31st.
March 31st?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Bracy? And then Commissioner Goff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a quick question in regards to, well, I had two things. First, I'm in total agreement with what you mentioned, Mr. Chair, which is we should not be, we need to really consider if they're not going to renegotiate the lease with the city so that they are covering their property, then, you know, that may be something that we need to look at, finding a new location. I also wanted to ask a question because it was mentioned the previous TPO. How was our agreement set up with the previous TPO? Were we paying the lease agreement at the Lancaster location, or was that the TPO's responsibility under the former contract?
Would you like me?
Marshall?
Yes. So to answer your question, Chair, actually that TPO actually was the one who paid the lease agreement, and they the one who actually signed the lease agreement. So the city, you know, we didn't have to sign off on that. So it's actually that entity themselves that signed the agreement.
Mr. Chair, may I add something to that?
Just want to go back to Commissioner Bracy. Are you finished?
Okay.
Commissioner Bracy, any follow-up?
Yes, no, I think that was my question. I just wanted to see how, because I know it was mentioned before, and I know there was a change in the process of the city relationship with the TPOs when they switched. And so I just wanted to make sure that we understood historically the TPO was responsible for all of this, and the city wasn't a part of the leasing of that space. And now that we're entered into that space, we've got to, it seems like, make some corrections. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Rego?
Yeah, yes, and to Commissioner Bracy's comments, the history is that the LAPA organization already had a relationship with Lancaster Avenue. And what happened was the city of Wilmington receives money from Comcast as part of the franchise agreement that helps pay for the cost of rent. And so that was the change that came about. See, that I think the first mistake was we used to give money to LAPA, and then LAPA would pay the landlord. But then after it switched over to the new TPO, we did the proper thing, which is it was the city that should be renting the building over on Lancaster Avenue, and then using the money we received from Comcast to cover the rental cost. Now, I know Marshall will tell us that the money we get from Comcast may not anymore cover the cost, and that's why we have to dip into our own coffers. But at any rate, this somehow got off track. So yes, Commissioner Bracy, while it was the TPO previously, we corrected that and made it the responsibility of the city to find a rental location if it chooses to operate a leased access station, which in this case it has. So, okay, thank you.
All right,
Mr.
thank
Chair,
you.
can I follow up to that?
Yes, Commissioner Bracy.
That reminded me, thank you, Commissioner Rego. That was my third question. So as we start to figure out what we're going to do to, build solution towards this, the franchise agreement is another issue that we need to be addressing, because I know that as we start to go into budget season, the city council has to infuse money in to make sure that we're covering the cost for DETV 28 and WITN. And it doesn't, the Comcast, and Marshall, correct me if I'm wrong, the money received from Comcast does not cover both bills. So as we're looking, that's as we're looking to figure out how we fix this issue, I think we also need to be looking at how much it's going to cost the city, and where that money is going to come from. Okay, now be quiet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes,
just-
Commissioner Rego.
Just to Commissioner Bracy, you're absolutely correct. That's what this comes down to. It used to be, if you go back in history, the money from the Comcast agreement, which is based, by the way, on subscribers, the number of subscribers they have in the city of Wilmington. And you know, people have been cutting the cable. So when they cut the cable, that reduces the amount of money. And that's why we're seeing now the problem with, we don't necessarily have the franchise money to cover all the expenses. But it comes down to the city. It still wants to operate a government channel. It still wants to operate a education channel, and it still wants to operate a public access channel. And of course, there are costs associated with that. So that's why we really have to look at this now. And you're right, Commissioner Bracy, we have to figure out, well, where's the money going to come from then? But it certainly shouldn't come from the TPO. Right now, we're making the TPO pay for everything. But okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Thomas, do you still have a comment? Okay, I'm going to move to Commissioner Goff.
I just wanted to briefly note that as was indicated in the portion of the memorandum that John read from, Mr. Rego read from, that it really is up to the city council, this group here, to decide what terms, business terms, they want to have in their agreement. So with a one-year agreement, I think the decision can be made to alter those things. But as everyone's noted, it will have, financial consequences, creating, adding HVAC or heating to a building or a place that doesn't have those things may, may cost money. This was actually in the commercial context. This type of arrangement is actually not unreasonable, but perhaps it's more appropriate for, as John and others have noted, a larger concern, not a smaller company or firm occupying a building. You would expect a big company that's going to use something for 3 full years to maybe take on a lot more responsibility for that space than perhaps the landlord. But in a smaller space, it's perhaps reasonable not to do so. So it is really up to council, this group, in deciding to shift those responsibilities and costs for the April 1st agreement that needs to be put in place.
Okay, thank you. Do any other commissioners have any comments or questions?
I do.
Commissioner Cabrera?
Yes, so in jumping in and hearing the conversation, I know that we probably don't have time with the deadline that we have, the hard deadline that we have, but could we possibly, obviously look at other spaces? And then, you have a lot going on downtown and building that maybe we need to get a corporate partner who would, let's just say, be a sponsor, donate space, or give us a lower cost, as you often see, due to the nature of what this does, this type of station, having to provide the services and the information that we provide to the public, to maybe just start talking to some of our corporate partners and people who are investing in the city of Wilmington and say, hey, while you're investing in the city, this is something that we need to have. I see a lot of spaces popping up, and then, have a reduced rate. We don't want to pay the top commercial rate that they're charging others, but kind of look at that. I know that I see a lot of churches now, instead of having traditional buildings, they're going into warehouses. It just seems like there's so many empty warehouses, and now people are worshiping in warehouses, but still keeping it within the city limits. Or do we want to keep it within the city limits, I guess, is the other thing. So just thinking out loud that maybe we should collectively start talking to some folks and see how we can move out of this space, because I'm in agreement. First of all, the space is crappy, and the fact that now they're asking us to fix it. But it's not uncommon. I mean, I was telling somebody the story most recently when when Mr. Rossi owned the space that Rooney's has now on Delaware Avenue, Catherine Rooney's. I remember when that upstairs, when the person who was the renter was responsible for fixing everything, including a leak in the roof. And that doesn't seem fair because it's not their property. But it's not uncommon to see those kind of contracts either. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Thomas.
Just something I was just thinking about. The fees were based off subscriptions, right? What if there's some way that we still know that Comcast is selling digital subscriptions? Is there any way that the city can leverage that conversation on how to, get more people in the city by getting subscriptions digitally?
So if I can, Mr. Chair.
Marshall.
So that is part of our franchise negotiations.
Okay.
So the money that we get is based upon the number of subscribers. So now we're trying to determine what is the new definition of franchising.
Okay.
Can it be inclusive of other things
Okay.
that Comcast has? I mean, that's the unknown, and that's the type of expertise like we're looking to bring in to see if that could be changed.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things that is being looked into.
Okay.
And I mean, and that's a question not only for the city of Wilmington, it's for everybody, right? Because cabling has changed.
Yeah.
12 years ago when we did this agreement, we didn't have Wi-Fi, you know, so we have to be futuristic.
Right.
So that's some of the things we are looking into.
Okay, and we'll think about it on our end too, on how we can help out with that. Because we can, and it might just not be, well, I'll talk to you about it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Any other commissioners have any questions or comments? Michelle?
So, Mr. Chair, I just want to just make sure, I mean, for the commissioners, because it's actually two things we need to look into. Number one is the lease agreement at Lancaster, because that expires in March. So, you know, we do need to, you know, like make a decision now, like, are we going to look to continue to use that, utilize that site? And then the second item is what John Rago brought up, is about the sublease. So, you know, I just need to understand about what's going to happen at the Lancaster site currently.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think we do have some work to do offline. I see on our agenda, it has update of lease agreements at both locations. Are we going to also talk about the Market Street location?
Mr. Chair, yeah, so that was just here as a item, because we just want to make sure, I mean, that as commissioners, everyone is aware about the Market Street location. I mean, so that wasn't actually like brought to the commissioners, but, you know, we just want to hear for a point of reference, because, I mean, that is a cost, not a cost to the city, but I mean, the TPO, I mean, is paying funds out of their pocket, I mean, for that. I mean, in addition to, you know, what's been paid at the Lancaster site. So, so that's the reason that is listed there.
Okay, but that's not a city agreement.
That is not a city.
Okay.
That is not a city agreement.
Okay. Mr. Thomas, any other updates that you'd like to present to the commissioners and the public? No. Okay. Does anyone from the public have any comments or questions? And seeing no hands raised. All right, again, thank you, Ivan, for everything that your team, that you're bringing to our city and our county and our state.
Thank you.
I
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. Commissioner Bracy, before you. Commissioner
I'm
Bracy.
sorry, I didn't mean to have my hand up. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
all right, no problem. Yes, Michelle?
And Chair, we will have to schedule another CBT commission meeting, because we do need to get clarity about, you know, the Lancaster site, because March is right around the corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we do need to have probably another meeting within a couple of weeks, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next,
Mr.
we will
Chair,
go
can I
back.
make my motion now?
Yes, I apologize. Commissioner Rago.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we reconsider the concept of a sublease agreement with the TPO, and that we look for a site, whether that be Lancaster Avenue or any other site, where the city rents space, where the landlord is actually responsible for the infrastructure of the building itself. and that we essentially, the city is the tenant, and the TPO, of course, is, you know, our agent, if you will. But I just think we need to step back and relook or review this agreement and come up with a new agreement. So that's my motion. It's a long-winded, but I thank you.
Second.
Just before we
Yeah.
second, Marshall does have a comment.
Yeah. John, your motion was really like fully loaded.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and the reason I say
right.
it's fully loaded is because you also mentioned in there to look for another site, right? So, you know,
Well, no,
does
no,
that mean
I-
okay.
No, maybe I misstated.
Yes,
Let me-
okay.
Let me just try to,
All right.
clear it up. The motion is that we rethink the idea of a sublease agreement with a TPO, and that we also look closely at what we're going to do as a commission and as a council and as a city when it comes to renting space for these television stations that we authorize. And that, of course, gets down to the rental and then whose responsibility it is for the infrastructure of a building that we rent. So that's my motion, okay?
Is there a second?
Yes.
Second.
It's
I
been-
think that, may I be recognized really briefly?
Commissioner Goff,
Yes.
yes, thank you.
Yes. So my motion is actually to amend this motion to some extent, because I suggest that we authorize someone to conduct the negotiations towards the ends that John Rago is suggesting. So that when that person comes back to our next specially scheduled meeting, we have some kind of results that we can kind of vote on. So if we can authorize someone to do that, that would be great. I imagine it would be either, you know, someone in council administration or the station manager, or to negotiate that. But so my suggestion is that we authorize someone to do or explore these subjects and negotiate these things that John has suggested.
All right, I'll allow Marshall to have comment.
Yeah, if I can, Chair, like, for the authorization, that would be something that I can work along with John Stant, because John Stant is the representative here, from the law department, so that it's something that, you know, we could work jointly on, if that's the wishes of this commission.
All right,
Great.
Commissioner Bracy, do I see your hand raised?
Yes, I have a question. Two parts. Well, one question. Would it be possible for Mr. Thomas and DETV to kind of give us and obviously not today, but to put something in writing that he could share that breaks down operations between his two locations? So what happens at that Lancaster site versus what happens at their Market Street site? And the reason I'm asking that is because as we start to rethink what we're doing, and we're also addressing budget issues, we have a state-of-the-art facility that we invested quite a bit of money in down at the first floor of our building, like a studio, WITN Studios. And as we're looking at how we reorganize, is there a possibility that if the majority of DETV's operations is at their space on Market Street, that for the ancillary needs such as office space and some of their lease access recordings, could that be done in our WITN studios that we've already invested in? So it's just a question, something for us to explore as we start to revisit how we work this and also how we pay for it.
Yes,
Thank you.
Before we get too off, that is a good question, but before we get off track, I just want to stay focused on the motions that were put forward so that we can vote on them. So I think they were, if Marshall, did you want to kind of summarize the two motions by Commissioner Rago and Commissioner Goff?
Well, it's my understanding that Commissioner Goff amended Brago's motion. So the motion is to authorize staff, which will be myself and John Stant, to look into the sublease as well as the regular lease when it comes to like HVACs, everything that's in the sublease that we talked about.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. All commissioners?
Aye.
Any commissioners who are opposed? All right, motion carried. And I want to go back to Commissioner Bracy, if there is any follow-up with her. Michelle?
Yes, and Commissioner Bracy, those were some good points. So actually outside of here, there is like a small working group, and we actually have been looking at like what DETV does at the Market Street location, as well as what occurs at the Lancaster site, as well as looking at WITN, because we want to see, you know, are we being efficient, as well as considering limited subscribers and dollars. So that is something that's being looked into, and we can share that information with the commissioners probably by next week.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Michelle. At this time, we will go to Wendell Raulston from WITN. Mr. Raulston, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, President Congo, and thank you, commissioners, for having me here. I'm Wendell Raulston, station manager for WITN, and I'm just going to give a brief update on our programming and operations. So we have a variety of programming, and it's kind of put into two buckets. It's our council meetings, which is the bulk of our production time. And just to break down that, this past year we conducted 44 committee meetings and 24 city council meetings. In addition to that, we do have a partnership with Newcastle County, or agreement, in which we do provide production support for their meetings. And as of last year, we did 107 meetings for Newcastle County. Additionally, with those meetings, we also have we've been streaming the task force meetings that have been happening as of the start of this year. Those task forces in particular are the reparations task force and the fees and fines task force. And I just want to say the bulk of these the meetings were handled by our production coordinator Amanda Robbins, and with support from our producer Nigel Sanderson and our freelancer team. In conjunction to the broadcast of council meetings, we do have original programming that we do, and just to go over some of that programming, we do have our 2-minute drill program, in which council members have the opportunity to address their constituents about issues that are important to them. And we have our 22 News, which it can be broken down into our news packages that we do for 22 News. And then we do On the Scene, which is live broadcasts of things like ribbon cuttings, press conferences in that area there. And then we have Sights and Sounds, which is recaps of events such as festivals, parades, just some very visual events that we can just give a quick highlight so people can see what's going on, the great things that are going on in the city. And in addition to our 2-minute drill that we offer for council members, we do have a program called Inside the District, which is another opportunity for council members to highlight businesses and organizations and individuals that are making an impact within their districts and the city at large. And then, in addition to that original programming, we do have special productions that we do from time to time when we don't have an actual program that a particular production can fall under. So we have we recently did the Wilmington Homeowners Repair Lottery Drawing, in which Commissioner Rego facilitated that. He did a great job there. And we also do a lot of programming with Parks and Rec. We have their monthly updates, and we're actually retooling the updates. So we haven't been on a monthly pace, but we are ready to get back to doing monthly updates with Parks and Rec. And also over the holiday season, Councilman Vincent White, actually sat down with the Wilmington Fire Department to talk about fire safety. So we also have that, and that's been running ever since, and it's going to be an ongoing thing just to remind folks of what they need to do in case of a fire. I do want to highlight some of our partnerships. Like I said, we do have a partnership with Newcastle County during their meetings, but we also do some content sharing with NCCTV. They do share some of the events that they captured that are of importance to the city of Wilmington, as well as the state of Delaware. We do highlight different proclamation signings and different announcements from the governor. When they do arise, we'll be airing the State of the State address that's going to be happening next month. And we actually developed a partnership with Christiana Care to air their program called For the Love of Health, which is a kind of a conversation show where they talk about different health topics. And we felt that was there's a lot of useful information from that program for our residents here and our viewers. And we have been also airing the fantastic speaker series that the Wilmington Library has been putting on. So we do air those in their entirety. So they have great speakers in that series. And then lastly, as far as our partnerships go, we have been sharing content with our various school districts. So we do receive content from Brandywine School District, Colonial School District, Red Clay School District, and also the Votech School District as well, and I think Appoquinimink as well. So we do share that programming from those school districts. So, to fill the time up for our 24-hour program cycle, we do add additional filler content to supplement our programming. And just to highlight that, we do have content that government access stations do have permission to use from the federal government, from departments such as NASA, the Justice Department, the Department of Interior, the CDC, Department of Health and Human Services, and we also do receive some content from the Senate that features our Senate delegation as well. So we do that under a program called Senator Spotlight. In addition to that kind of filler content, we do have our message board, which I do want to highlight that our senior producer, Paul Kenner, has really taken that task on and made it a really robust information hub that gives viewers information regarding employment opportunities, entertainment, health, and traffic updates, as well as we do still have general bulletins that we have out for, upcoming events as well. Currently, we have 150 messages currently running on our message board, and that's updated daily. So I do want to touch on some of our social media numbers. Just to let you know, we do maintain a YouTube, Facebook, Instagram page, as well as recently, starting last year, our social media coordinator and producer, Saquon Stimson, built put together our Newsbreak page. The application Newsbreak is a new application that a lot of news entities are using, and community-based entities are using to disseminate information. And that has really taken off. Just to go over those numbers, as of right now, we are approaching the 1,000 follower point for Newsbreak. So this our page has grown tremendously over the past few months. So I definitely want to give kudos to Shaq for putting that together for us. And then just to touch on Facebook, we have currently 6,938 followers on Facebook. On YouTube, we have 4,413 subscribers. And on Instagram, we are currently at 2,198 subscribers. To go back to Facebook, I just want to mention that we do have a reach of 72,843, which is pretty good right now. So that's pretty much what I have. I do want to take this time to thank my staff for just keeping things going as I was away on leave, and especially Amanda Robbins, who did fill the station manager duties during that time. So I do want to thank them, as well as our freelancer staff. We are currently a staff of 5, and we do have an authorized staffing of 6. So there is an open producer position that hopefully we can fill in the near future. So that's all that I have. If the commission has any questions, I can gladly answer them.
All right, thank you, Wendell. We appreciate that. And as always, job very well done from you and your entire team at WITN. Do any commissioners have any comments or questions? Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes, so I just want to say that I guess 2 days ago, I got a flash on my phone from Newsbreak. I saw, faintly Mayor Sill's name in there, and then I was afraid to open it up because I didn't want to read any bad news, because when I saw Newsbreak, I didn't assume that it was from WITN, and I said, I can't deal with any more losses. So I didn't open it until later that night to see what that was all about, because I had just spoken to Mayor Sills last week. So I opened it and I said, oh, thank you, Jesus. So you did, highlighting Black History Month. You were highlighting Mayor Sills, his career, and as the first African-American mayor. So I just want to say I was really impressed, even though it gave me angst when I first saw the Newsbreak come across. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that we were getting these Newsbreak flashes, that WITN was on there, because honestly, I really hadn't noticed or seen one before that. But just wanted to say that really looked great. I love that whatever we're doing is getting out there into the media and more accessible so people can see what's happening in Wilmington. So job well done. Very, very happy with the way things have been growing and moving forward with your leadership and others. In spite of being a new dad and taking care of the baby, he's still holding it down. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Job well done.
Thank you. I mean, I really can't do this without my staff, and I know the feeling that you had. We've been losing some prominent figures recently, so yeah, it's been rough for us. So understand.
Thank you.
Michelle?
Yeah, Chair, I just want to mention too with WITN and under, with Wendell as the station manager, he has been very active working with NATOA and working with the First Amendment right, which helps us with our council meetings, so that's very helpful. Also, I know we're about to start like the budget season, and I'm sure that you highlighted some key critical areas and some of the major funding that you need for your equipment and stuff. I mean, of course, that's all going to be addressed. And when we're looking at the PEG and we're looking at the number of subscribers when it comes to government, and we're looking at like the KTV funds, I mean, like the primary source of those funds cover the operations of WITN. And as the number of subscribers come down, that impacts our bottom line. And I want to say the number of subscribers has reduced immensely, probably to the tune of 60% probably within the last, over the last 15 years. And even with the number of your staff being at 5, you're still keeping up like the same level of services and programs. So I just wanted to share that with the commissioners, because that speaks volume.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners?
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Rago?
Yeah, I would just like to add my congratulations to Wendell and his entire team. You know, television production's not easy, and they do a great job. So congratulations.
Thank you. Any other commissioners?
Yes.
Commissioner
Mr. Chair,
Fields?
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes, Commissioner Fields?
Yes, I'd just like to say, I think the availability for WITN is unspeakable. You know, sometimes at the last minute, you know, they make it a request and they are available. So I do appreciate them looking at the need of the council members or whatever the community is calling for, and them being there. They also do, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna go on and on, but we already know that they do an excellent job on what they're doing for the community, and I think that's key. And like Commissioner Best Knight said, with the staff that they have, they're putting out excellent work. So again, you know, guys, just continue to keep up the good work, and you know, you're always rewarded, and you know, we are always grateful. Those that sit on council appreciate the work that you do when you come out into the community, and we're out in the community and you're with us. So we thank you for that. I speak for myself, and I'm pretty sure others. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, just to touch on that, you know, council members and you know, definitely members of the community, please share information that you have about events, or you know, if you have topics you want to discuss, speaking to the council members for their 2-minute drill, we're always open. Just, you know, reach out, and you know, we'll get things lined up. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other commissioners? If not, anyone from the public, any questions or concerns? And seeing no hands raised, thank you again, Wendell, to you and your team. Keep up the great work.
All right, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Next on the agenda, we will have a report from the Rick Clay Consolidated School District regarding the operations of the Educational Access Channel, presented by Alva Mobley, the Chief Communications Officer for Rick Clay, EDtv.
Good afternoon. Testing the sound. Can you hear us clearly?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Perfect. How you doing? I am Horace Knight, Rick Clay Communications Specialist, and we have with us Moises Velasquez. At our last meeting, we mentioned that we were working to fill the position that Rob Markopoulos vacated. Moises has been here since late December, and he is now fully onto the staff. So we are at TV. We are on Comcast channel 965 and FiOS channel 30. And is the presentation, is it on? You can't see.
Yeah, there should be a slide attached
I'll be sharing now. Thank you so much. Perfect. Thank you very much. You can go to the next slide, please. So EDtv is operated 365 days a year, 24/7. You know, we are a educational only channel, and our mission is to fill and enrich content that educates, informs, and inspires our viewers. So I'm going to do this time less speaking and allow Moises to jump in and speak as well. But I just want to say that, you know, for EDtv, our vision is to enhance, leverage our resource, and expand our reach and maximize educational impact.
Thank you, Horace. Hey guys, thank you for having me. My name is Moises Velasquez. I've actually been a member here I've been a student here at Red Clay since kindergarten, really since preschool. I attended Red Clay schools all throughout my education, and actually into high school, I was involved in EDtv right around the same time that EDtv was created. So I actually worked for EDtv for about 6 years, and during my 6 years, we received, I think, over four national Emmy nominations, and then ultimately we went on to win an Emmy during my time here for a piece we did. And so me being brought back on is really it feels awesome. I feel really inspired to create content that I think speaks to children of different age groups. We really want to focus on filling the time slots based on when kids and when parents are home. So we want to really sit down and look at research and look at statistics to figure out what should we play during what specific times based on who is home. And so part of that, and we can go to the next slide. Part of that currently, as it sits, we have a science show, a book show, we have CNN Student News, we have the good stuff, which is sort of a recap show of what's been going on in the district. The Red Clay Cook-Off has been our show historically. Unfortunately, we've had the host of that show move on from the district. So we're looking to revamp that cooking show and possibly call it Stir It Up, and really dive into culinary traditions across the community as a whole. So we have different community members from different backgrounds come on and kind of show this is our dish at home, and this is how we want to, this is what we want to show to the community as a whole. Project Soapbox has been part of the MICVA challenge that we've done here locally. All of our schools participate in it and really give the students voice. Give them a voice and give them the opportunity to public speak and to really get topics that otherwise would be unheard in a lot of student to student conversations. And of course, the education station is our bus that we've customized. The back half of the bus is actually converted into a testimonial cash cab type booth, and that allows, again, students to go in there, share their voice. And we also use it for events specifically focused around recaps and just, again, giving students another opportunity. We also have a number of original shows that I'm currently working on developing, one of them being Adulting 101. And what the purpose of that show is to really, you oftentimes hear kids say, I wish I learned this in school, or oh, I didn't learn this in school. So Adulting 101 is going to hopefully fill that void and really focus on things that you didn't maybe learn in school, such as taxes, personal finance, budgeting, how credit cards work, how credit works as a whole, as well as things like cars and maintaining a house and other aspects of daily life that are often forgotten. Alphabet Soup has been our reading book show, and we really want to continue that because we feel literacy is obviously strongly important. And we really want to focus on those core curriculum items that we focus on here as a district and really turn each one of those core items into a show that has a lesson to it. Again, we really want to create educational programming at the end of the day, not just recaps and not just here's what's going on, rather here's what there is to learn. And oftentimes we think linearly learning is math, science, and this and that, but we also want to create shows that are based around art. So we have a show we're developing called Behind the Artist, where we have a host basically go along, talk to different artists. And, this week we're going to talk to a sculptor, this week we're going to talk to a painter, a musician, a dancer, and vice versa. And then another show currently developing, is called Career Compass. And so Career Compass is really giving students an inside look into different career pathways that don't require a traditional 4-year education. Rather, you could go into an apprenticeship type of program, you could go into trade school, and really give students a different insight into the world and saying, okay, maybe, a traditional education isn't for me, but this is. So again, these are sort of some of the shows that we're developing alongside Health Heroes. Health Heroes is going to really focus around athletics and really at-home workouts that you can kind of do around the house to try to break away from some of that monotonous, and sometimes certain people in general feel that you have to go to a gym and you have to spend all this money. And really, we're looking for, and again, one of the other things I forgot to mention is we want a lot of the hosts to be people within the district, within the community, that are professionals, that are sort of leaders, or at least inspiring in their respective fields. And we can go to the next slide. And part of that is, again, we really want to diversify the programming that we're doing, from, focusing on education to different communities, to part of the cooking show is, showing students really the diversity behind the district and the community that we live in. We also want to really develop and strengthen our relationship with other school districts, charter schools, and give them an opportunity to submit ready for broadcast programming. Meaning, unfortunately, we have a limited bandwidth. It's really just the team that you see here. So we're really looking for other districts, other channels, or networks to really help us provide with, we have 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and we're looking to fill that void. And again, EDtv has been historically responsible as far as all cost goes for the district, for the channel. We can go to the next slide. This again just kind of focuses on some of the shorts we've done in the past, and we'll continue to do that. A lot of them have been, here's the things that are happening in the district, but again, we also focus on some things that are intertwined with the community, and we look for those opportunities to, again, get the message out there. And then oftentimes we take our shorts and combine them into the good stuff to show what's going on within the district. We can go to the next slide. Part of what we also do on the network is we run community slides, just letting people know, here's what's going on around the community, here's what's going on in the district. And anybody can send slides, as long as it's obviously meets our requirements. But again, these are community slides that we run through the district. We can go to the next slide. And again, we are open to sharing other people's content. We're really looking to strengthen that going forward, as well as looking for partners outside of the district, really focusing on content creators online and possibly other networks to help us fill the void. And again, meeting those requirements that we internally are sort of restructuring, in the sense that we really want it to be educational. We really want it to offer something to students, to parents, to teachers, that they otherwise wouldn't have in a traditional sense. We can go to the next slide. And again, my name is Moises Velasquez. I'm the creative media specialist, as well as the executive producer at EDtv. I'll be managing the station. Horace Knight is our communications specialist, and Alva Mobley is our chief operating officer. And that's it. That's all we have to say. If you guys have any questions, by all means, we're all ears. And again, we're looking forward to really creating and really taking what has been historically here at EDtv, and even during my time, the shows that I worked on, keep some of those shows alive, and hopefully incorporate new shows that really kind of push what we're creating here further. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. Thank you both. I'm sure that they are happy to have you back on board.
Absolutely. It's good to be back.
Are there any questions or comments from any commissioners?
I have one,
Commissioner Rego.
Commissioner Chair. I just want to give them an A for product placement. They have the referendum vote signage right there. Very clever. Congratulations. And congratulations for all you do on the educational station.
We didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? All right.
No, I'm teasing. Yeah, thank you very much for that shout out, though. We appreciate that. It's very important. February 28th.
February 28th, we're again, a lot of what we do for the district, for the channel, is all internal, so it's coming out all of our budget. So
Absolutely.
Everything helps, and we're, again, part of our job really is to also focus on the referendum. So we've been a little bit stretched thin in the sense of we're focusing on referendum, we're focusing on the network, and again, we're bringing new ideas to life and really trying to hit the ground running, as we speak.
All right, thank you. Any other commissioners? Is there anyone from the public? All right, seeing no hands raised. Thank you again, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Next on our agenda is a request for proposal update. TPO, Marshall, if you can share any updates.
Yeah, Chair, I just wanted just to mention for the record that we do need to go ahead and start the request for proposal. We don't have like a time frame as of yet, but one of the things that Law Department, John Stan is working on So there's a lot of different moving parts. So we're in the midst of negotiations with Comcast. We know that our TPO agreement ends in March, so we know we need to be able to do another one-year agreement for that. But in the meanwhile, we need to start preparing for a request for proposal to see, you know, like what would happen for whoever that would be for the new term. So that will be an extensive process. It takes time to do that. John Stant, you have any comments or anything you want to add?
Good afternoon. All right, thank you, everyone can hear me. I'm working on the one-year agreement to extend the TPO. I did send a draft to Marshall and Commissioner Parikh yesterday afternoon. I will also begin working on the RFP. As far as the cable franchise agreement, in December, Comcast made an official 5-year offer to extend the franchise for 5 years. They offered to provide $60,000 a year for lease expenses, $50,000 in year one for government access, and $50,000 for local leased access, and then $25,000 for government and $25,000 for leased access in year three. And all other terms remain. After discussions with outside counsel, we asked Comcast to increase lease expenses from $60,000 to $90,000. I know there's been a lot of discussion today about Lancaster and other sites, but I wanted to kind of give the commission the rationale for increasing our lease request in that leased access rent is skyrocketing. Currently, the Lancaster site is including rent and our share of the taxes is about $100,000 a year. So if Comcast is subsidizing $60,000, the city has to pay the remaining 40%. DETV did lease property at 1105 North Market Street. Apparently it's a nice location. It's $5,200 a month per the lease I saw, and Ivan did inquire about additional office space if we combined, if we assisted with that, and that's about $9,000 a month for office space there. So you're looking at about $14,000 a month. So if the city went in that direction at the current $60,000 subsidy from Comcast, the city's paying approximately 65% of the rent out of its own coffers, and that's, in my opinion, absolutely untenable. So the $90,000 would put it at about 53%. I did some quick math while waiting for my turn to speak. Comcast has had a few internal meetings. The last update I got from outside counsel is they were waiting for, I guess, a report from their own finance team because of what everyone's talked about. Subscribers are going down. They want to make sure it's worthwhile for them to do this. I was hoping to have an answer today from outside counsel, but when I asked him yesterday, I do not, unfortunately. And one other cost, if we moved the feed access to Market Street, it's a one-time cost of, I think, about $5,000. And that's all I have.
Mr. Chair?
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Rego?
I have a question of John Stant. Did I misunderstand you? Did you say that we're paying taxes on Lancaster Avenue?
It's in the agreement. I'm just reading what was read.
We're paying, well, see, this is crazier than I ever thought it was. So we're renting a space on Lancaster Avenue and paying taxes?
From what I read,
Yes.
Commissioner Rego, yes.
Well, I understand it's what you read.
Right.
What I'm asking you is, what taxes are we paying?
I think it's share of real estate taxes and maintenance. I don't have the agreement with
okay.
me
All right.
off the top of my head, but we pay about $2.65 per square foot, and it's a
Okay.
$6,000 6,000 square foot facility, or 285.
Well,
excuse me.
There's another reason. There's another reason to renegotiate this thing. This is absolutely Looney Tunes.
I agree.
We should-
Who's the
the city-
landlord?
Lancaster
Huh?
Associates, some
Right.
an LLC.
They were the same ones that were.
Yeah, I mean, we should
Okay,
never be
thank you.
paying taxes. All right.
All right, thank you. Any other commissioners have any questions or concerns? Any questions or concerns from anyone in the public? All right, seeing none, thank you, Mr. Stant, for your presentation. Marcia? That does conclude our meeting for today. I want to thank
Mr.
everyone.
Chair?
Yes. Commissioner
I'm sorry.
Wendell.
May I just make one more comment? And I'm sure everybody will join me on this. The Reverend Benjamin Twinby Brown passed recently, and he was such a pioneer in this whole area of what we're sitting here talking about, which is television, local television, and so on and so forth. So I just want to I just want to offer a comment that I'm very happy to have met him and to have interacted with him over the years, and I just want to thank him for all that he did for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And seeing no other hands raised from any other commissioners, again, thank you for joining us, those who have joined us in chambers, in the committee room, and also virtually. With that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you everyone for joining us.